Here we go.
No Nation, welcome into another episode of the Renegade Rundown. As always, I've got my beautiful and lovely, the amazing Memphian, my friend, Jen Santee, aka at Jen Santee 1890 on X. You know her as Jen Knoll 2013. As I said, Jen Santee all over the place on the different platforms. My favorite person to do podcasts with. She's got her very own podcast that she's starting tomorrow with my good friend KP, Ken, Tiny Hat, whatever you know him as. So look forward to that. The Renegade Roast starts tomorrow around this time, around 9 Eastern. So we're going to have a whole lot of fun with that. Today's show, we really want to just kind of put a nail, on the end, a check mark on the end of Florida State spring football and everything there. Kind of take a look back, recap that, give you guys an opportunity to have any questions you have left. Kind of recap that spring portal period and the portal class as a whole, as well as high school recruiting and where we're going to go from there. And then start to look forward. Look forward preview. What's this 2024 season going to look like? What are the Vegas odds starting to look like for a playoff, for a national championship, for Heisman, things of that nature? I'm going to have a lot of fun. You're starting to see things like offensive tackle. Darius Washington is listed as like the number 3 offensive lineman in the entire nation. So just a lot of exciting things going on in this kind of transition period as we move into kind of the biggest 2 months of high school recruiting there is as we move into June and July. But anyways, how are you doing, Jen? I know you've got a list full of chores you're working at home and everything like that, but I know you're excited to get the Renegade Roast started, and we've been having fun going back and forth with people on Twitter, talking about the realities of what's really going on here in the Big Three and everything else.
Goodness. Sorry, I did my camera again. I was coughing, guys. I'm sorry. I'm excited. Of course, I started way too many projects and can't finish any of them, but that is normal for me. As anybody knows, my family calls me Along Came Polly. It's my nickname. It's very normal for me. It is what it is. But yeah, I decided to pull up carpet because we have hardwood floor underneath it, and then redid the upstairs, and then decided to open my pool today. So this has been a very fun, eventful weekend.
Oh yeah, for sure. I could only imagine.
Because I don't have anything else to do. I don't have like a full-time job. I don't do anything else. So yeah, why not? Why not add to it?
I hear you. Yeah, so Florida State football, spring is almost, not almost, we're done with it. Again, I wanted to throw the phone line up there if you have any questions on anything particular. We're going to have the questions open for the whole time, but looking back on the spring, what was the biggest thing for you, Jen? What really stuck out to you this spring? Is there a particular position or any person that you want to talk about before I go off on my rant and kind of start on the defense where I want to start?
Yeah, so if you wanted to say, is there any person or anything, I was gonna say the defense. But I do enjoy I love DJ's progressions here. I'm fully confident in his ability. I'm fully confident also in Brock Glenn as a backup and all the things. I mean, again, we don't know. Maybe Brock will. I think we all know DJ's going to start, but that's fine. We can all play that game if we need to. But I just, I really liked that, and I liked his connection with Malik Benson that we saw, even though Malik got a little banged up. But again, I think our defensive backs, I know you're going to have your rant, but if you wanted me to be honest, I was going to go with the defensive backs, but that's really something I'm excited about. So obviously and the running backs. The running backs, guys, I don't think the running backs are getting enough praise. For me, I just don't. I think, we sit there and we look at Williams and we look at Toafili and we look at what we have there. It's that crew is going to be pretty good. I like it.
All right. Yeah. No, I agree. You're kind of all over the board there.
Sorry.
But we got to start somewhere. I'll start with DJU and the offense, even though the defense is kind of like the juicy morsel. I think that's kind of the strongest point. But no, DJU bringing him in here, big, 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 big addition to this team. I thought Cam Ward was going to be the guy at first. They kind of brought both guys in right back to back, talking to both guys. They kind of made a choice, depending on who you believe. FSU picked DJU, and told Cam Ward this wasn't going to work out. Some people at other places report the opposite. That doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, we end up with DJU. Cam Ward says he's going to go to the draft. Ends up at Miami. DJU was your guy all along. So I guess just what you've seen from spring, has it been enough to kind of vindicate, validate, your hopes and what you thought, like looking forward to it? Like, has he met your
Yes.
expectations?
Yes. And then some. One, I guess you look at their sizes and stuff, but like until you see them, I didn't realize he was like as big as he was. Like that was like kind of jarring for me. I know that sounds ridiculous. It just kind of was. But yeah, I love everything he's doing. He seems to be ingratiating himself with the fan base. He is working out with the team members. You don't hear anything bad there. I really like how he's placed himself and how his family has become part of the Florida State family so quickly. Yeah, I am 100% validated, I feel like. So
Yeah, I agree.
so far.
There's no doubt he kind of, Big Dave, as soon as he kind of DJU committed and he started speaking with people, we're lucky to have him on the show. One of the first
Mhm.
people to really get to talk to him as media. He's taken over that kind of um, father, father, FSU team dad, whatever you want to call it, the kind of the position that Rob Deloach held down for the last couple of years. And Rob Deloach, who still hangs around the program, still love the Seminoles and will be around. But Big Dave, it's pretty awesome how quick, like you said, he ingratiated himself into
Mhm.
the culture. And I agree with you. I think people have been awful hard at DJU. If you go watch the film, there's a lot of drops, there's a lot of balls hitting the ground. It's not like a up and down the field Big 12 kind of football game. But that just goes to how elite the secondary he was up against was, how elite the defense he was facing. The best defense he'll face all year. There's not a defense on the schedule that comes close. And also a defense that you play week in, week out. We showed the play card on the show a couple different times, or James did when he was our guest. They had 5 or 6 deep offensive plays to pick from that were passes, and the defense knew every one of them. What was important about watching that, and you go back and watch that tape, is that DJU was extremely comfortable in the pocket. He wasn't running for his life. He wasn't seeing ghosts. He was stepping up when necessary and
Mhm.
throwing. He was running to pass. Sometimes he would run when everybody was covered up. He made a lot of pretty passes that didn't get completed. Darion Williamson, love him to death. He had a couple balls that you'd like him to bring down.
Mhm.
Also, again, great coverage from a guy like Edwin Joseph in number 33, who's really young. But after you talked about DJU, I don't want to spend all day on it. But yes, I do
Yeah.
believe he's every bit of a leader you need. You mentioned his height. I'll never forget a fan sent me a picture. They met him at the airport when he was coming to Tallahassee, when he was first coming to move into his dorm in Florida State for good. And yeah, the guy really he's a monster. He's huge. People were trying to make jokes about his weight because he was up over 240 pounds, said he was fat, this and that. But no, as soon as you got to see the pictures and the video out there at spring practice, you really saw how lean he is, and just a guy that's really in shape, and just a prototypical what you want to look at when you're looking for a pocket passer or an NFL quarterback, whatever the case may be. He's that guy. So really just can't wait to see him unleashed against other defenses, other teams who haven't been sitting on these 5 routes, playing with these receivers every single day. And I've got bugs. I've let bugs in somehow. I guess a screen door open, but yeah, super pumped about DJU. And I think, as I said, you moved on to running backs after DJU. The identity of this team, if there's one major thing that we can look back and recap on the spring that we've learned, I think running the ball is going to be what this team's all about. Their identity on offense is going to be running that ball and play action pass. Run the ball, play action pass. You mentioned the three names. You've got Lawrence Toafili, Roydell Williams, Keziah Holmes, your three-headed monster. And you're hard pressed to find three better backs or a trio of backs in the nation. And then beyond those three, you have a guy in Sam Singleton who just nobody talks about. You've got Micah Hyde-Danzy coming in, who, again, people don't even talk about. So a serious running back stable. And I can't wait to see what they do. I think Roydell Williams is kind of what the doctor ordered, what we've been missing as far as somebody to run in between the tackles and be able to just really get skinny in the way that Trayshawn Ward did in his time here, but to also be able to take some to the house and break free. He's not as fast as a Trey Benson, but he does have a considerable bump, I think, over a guy like Trayshawn Ward. And Lawrence Toafili, he's a guy that's overlooked by everybody. It feels like everybody off season just kind of forgets that Lawrence Toafili even exists or something, but not here. We try to talk about him every time we talk about running backs. If it seems like we talk about Roydell more or this guy more, well, part of that is those are the new guys. Those are the guys that we're, kind of projecting. We've seen Lawrence Toafili on the field kind of do his thing and never look any better than he did in that Louisville game where he just absolutely kind of took that game over and got the win for us, running on a wildcat, running all over the place, averaging like 10 yards a carry. Peter Shields, my guy says, don't forget Cam Davis.
Yeah,
Cam Davis, a true freshman that has came in early and been an absolute beast. I knew there was somebody I was forgetting. But when you want to talk about true freshmen that you compete as we do this, spring recap, Cam Davis is a guy that proved early on that he's going to get his shot. He's going to get his carries. I don't know how many carries, maybe 100, maybe 200 carries if he's really killing it. Who knows, maybe even more. But yeah, I mean, you've got 6 running backs that any of them you could see jumping up. Keziah Holmes, I haven't talked a lot about, but if you've seen some of these clips of Keziah Holmes working out with Carlos Williams and stuff, it really is nuts. He is a big old boy. He looks bigger out of pads than he does in pads. I swear, Keziah Holmes must wear like the least amount of pads you possibly can wear in that uniform because he is a big old boy, especially for running back. And you saw that. You saw him running through some tackles in that spring game. He had the one fumble or whatever it was early in the game, but after that, he was out there really just kind of dealing punishment. I guess we can stick on the offense for the recap before we move on and get to the defense. We've talked DJU, we've talked the running backs. Who else? Is there anybody else on the offense between the wide receivers and the tight ends in particular that sticks out to you?
Well, I mean, I think Malik Benson and Jalen Lucas for me. Those are the ones.
Running back, not to cut you off, but that's my fault for not bringing him up. But Jalen Lucas for sure.
Yeah, but he will also do the slot passes, right? So you can say, he's also going to be used to bring punts out, all the things, kickoffs, all those things. For me, Jalen Lucas is a big surprise, and he's a wonderful surprise. That kid is fast. He is good. I'm really looking forward to seeing him. To be honest, for me, if I'm excited about the opening moment of a game, if we win the toss and we accept it and we take the kickoff on opening game, that's who I want to see bring out the ball. I want to see how that goes. That's what I'm excited about. I mean, I've got to be honest. Of course, I'm excited about the first game. I'm excited about the first play. But that one for me, I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see that speed up against another team. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, there's absolutely no doubt. Jalen Lucas coming in from, I believe it's Indiana, one of these guys who was just off in obscurity and became an absolute playmaker. I believe he's got 3 kick return touchdowns in his career. One of the best special teams guys in the nation. He doesn't have a ton of experience, I don't believe, at punt returner. It's mostly a kick returner, but the Seminoles are definitely putting him out there, and they're trying him out at punt returner. And I have no doubt he will excel. And you'll see him again lined up at running back. Another one of your kind of embarrassment of riches you have in that running back room. But as Jen mentioned, they're going to play him in the slot right next to his brother, a guy named Ja'Kai Douglas. They want to talk about Florida State. They don't develop. They don't get anybody out of high school, this and that. As I get attacked by the June bugs or whatever's going on, I open the window to get some fresh air, and apparently
you're being attacked by locusts.
It's no, not locust. You'd know if I was
I'm
getting attacked by locust.
joking. I'm joking.
Yeah, me too. But
Embellishing is what I'm doing.
there you go. But no, it's dune flies all over the place, and I'm a little bit embellishing too, but it's pretty funny. I forget where we're at, but yeah, Jalen Lucas, just an absolute freak athlete. His legs are like tree trunks. So whether he's in the slot, whether he's at running back, whether he's returning kicks or punts, he's going to be a beast. And again, Ja'Kai Douglas, his brother, who played running back in that UGA game because he's about the only option we had left at that point. He is going to be an absolute beast as well, coming back for his 5th year, I believe. So yeah, look out for him. Just really an embarrassment of riches. Like I said, so many options out of that backfield when you go 2 backs, 3 backs, kind of any different kind of situation they can do with the wide receivers. As I shut this window over here to maybe get some of these bugs off of me. You mentioned Malik Benson, the wide receiver that came in from Alabama. He's my kind of, possible superstar that could break out. We didn't get to see a ton of him in the spring game. He was killing it there at the beginning, made a beautiful pass over the shoulder play, but he ended up getting a little dinged up, but nothing serious. I believe it was kind of like a rolled ankle, maybe high ankle kind of sprain there, but nothing serious. He's going to be ready to go, but Malik Benson for sure. Can't wait to see him play. At wide receiver, Hakeem Williams, the same thing. Here's a guy that came in, one of the top receivers in the nation. We haven't seen a ton. A Dongbae says you're being attacked by gin bugs. That's the best.
Hey, but since we stopped, so I don't interrupt you, everybody's asking about Malik McLean.
Yeah, he's in the portal.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're getting a lot of questions. Do you have any
For sure. Yeah, we can
insight
talk
on that?
We can talk Malik McLean. He's
Okay.
in the portal. I haven't heard anything on getting him. I know a lot of people have tweeted about him as we're in the middle of our recap of wide receivers.
Yeah, sorry.
I wouldn't mind him coming in here. I don't know. Do you have a thought there?
I don't know. I don't think he left on bad terms. So would the window be open? I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, it's just tough. Wide receiver is a position where we've got a lot of names. We've got a whole bunch of young receivers we just brought in. I don't know what he can add to the group that we like. I've been adamant that if you're going to bring a wide receiver in, it needs somebody that can kind of compete for a 1A or 1B. Somebody like a Malik Benson, somebody who could be the opposite to him, a possession guy, a guy like a Johnny Wilson or a Keon Coleman type, maybe not as good, but just that type of receiver, a big-bodied receiver. He is that. So he does have the size. I don't know if he's got the consistency. If they brought him in, I'd be pumped. And let's see, maybe they can hit on him. But yeah, I'm not going to be the first guy saying, come on, let's bring Malik McLean in. He's going to be the difference maker. But he is out there, and we will keep you guys up to speed if we hear anything on him for sure as we move forward with our wide receivers. Hakeem Williams was the next guy there that I was talking about. We just haven't seen it from him. If I'm going to say that about Malik McLean, it's fair to say it about Hakeem Williams. The difference is one's like a senior, the other is a true sophomore, and somebody that I really truly to believe may unlock that thing, and I think has a chance to maybe break out and be that big time outside possession receiver this year for sure. Elsewhere at wide receiver, Kentron Portier is another guy who's been here, played with Malik McLean a lot of years. He has all that size and ability, but just has struggled keeping it together, keeping it healthy, being available. Availability is the best kind of ability, and that's been Kentron's struggle. He hasn't had the yips or drop passes or anything like a Darion Williamson or even a Malik McLean when he was here. When Malik McLean was here, he would make one amazing, just unreal diving catch, and then it'd be a drop or the wrong assignment or something on the next one. You haven't had that with Portier. He just hasn't really been out there enough. So, and if I'm forgetting a wide receiver as we go through this, throw your favorite wide receiver in the chat. I'll make sure he gets mentioned. We brought in a young guy in Jalen Brown, who's the same size or same age as Hakeem Williams, another top 100, one of the best recruits in the nation last year. So, but again, a sophomore. So as you look through our, receiving class and you go all the way to the freshmen like BJ Gibson and these young guys that came in here, a ton of talent. Camden Fryer coming in here, another true freshman who I believe he'll make an impact, but just not a lot of, experienced talent. It's not going to be last year. Keon Coleman maybe is your best player on your entire offense. Johnny Wilson is a 6'7" mutant out here who, besides the Southern Miss game, was catching everything thrown his way, just sucking up footballs. So a lot of times you saw that. People were even kind of hard on Florida State, talk shit about Mike Norvell. Oh, he's always throwing up these 50-50 balls. Well, it's not 50-50 balls when one guy's Keon Coleman and the other guy's Johnny Wilson, and you've got single coverage. That's 80-20 balls, 90-10 balls. Okay. Well, that's not so much the case this year. So that's not going to be the offense. But that doesn't mean you're going all the way back to 2021 where you don't have any options. You don't have anybody that can get free, this or that. Jalen Brown would have been the best receiver on that 2021 team. Hakeem Williams. You go down the list, we got 10 guys who would have been the best receiver on that group. It's just we don't have, as my guy James Coleman would like to say, we don't have any jersey guys. We don't have any wide receivers who just see the jersey and just, damn, that's guy. So you're going to see a lot of play action. You're going to see Mike Norvell scheming guys open. But that's kind of where we are on wide receiver. Unless somebody hits, unless we're able to get somebody. And I believe there's another small window in the winter about before the season, but I could be mistaken. That may be only for graduate transfers. But I saw somebody say Peter Warwick's name in there, Peter Warwick Jr. I haven't heard a ton about him. I believe he's still there as a walk-on, but I would love nothing better for something to happen and for Peter Warwick Jr. to get in there and make some plays, whether it be on special teams or whatever the case may be. So fingers crossed for him, and hopefully he sticks with it. As Ron Dugans continues with this group, and he's continued to impress me. I'm really excited to see what some of these young guys can do and what DJ you can do with them. You look at Kyle Morlock. You look at another guy, if you want to look back just particularly at this spring, somebody who jumped off the page, Jackson West. Hey, yeah. I'm sitting here telling you, Jen, I'm like, this white boy might not make it. You've got the number one freaking tight end in the country, Landon Thomas, coming in. You've got Kyle Morlock. They're not slowing down. He could get lost in the shuffle. He's been here for a year or two. You haven't heard anything. But then next thing you know, you start hearing good things out of practice, and he really showed out in the spring game. He's a little cutie pie, too. I think you said something about like that. What do you think about old Jackson West over there at tight end?
No, that was Brian Courtney. I think I said that.
Oh, Brian Courtney, another guy who looked pretty good in the spring.
Yeah. But yeah, but also Camden Fryer, we didn't mention him. I think he's going to be really good. And the chat reminded us. Thank you guys so much. We forgot to mention that. Oh, you did? Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. I didn't mention him. George did. That's my fault.
Nothing on Camden. Yeah. Nothing. Okay. On to the defense, I guess. Unless, guys, if you had any other questions before we move on. But yeah, I do need a bug zapper in here. That would be amazing.
I love bug zappers.
Whole segment on the show. I can have my bug zapper right here.
Well, no, because you can't do that with me on here because I would stare at the bug zapper and pay attention to a thing, and y'all would be talking to me, and I just
luckily you can't reach it, so you're safe.
No, I would be staring. I love bug zappers. I love it. It's so interesting. And then you just kind of get enthralled with them, right? It's like you just start staring. I would lose it. It'd be like something shiny in the back.
There they go. They said it's Kirk failing at his job. I guess I could use Kirk to take your vermin brothers away from me, Kirk.
Yeah.
What did you send after me? Some vampire freaking fleas or what? Son of a bitch. I don't know. I did a good job. Maybe we should just use Kirk for getting rid of bugs. Get the lunch.
That's a good idea.
They scare the shit out of them. But yeah, is there anybody else on offense? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Before I get to go really talk about what I'm excited about, and that's Florida State's defense this year. I really think we're going to have a pretty amazing defense. Are we free to move on, Jen, or do you have anything else?
No, I think you are free to go.
Yeah, so the defense, Florida State's defense year by year has gotten better and better. Adam Fuller, his kind of reputation, obviously has gotten better and better. Early on, anytime when a team starts out, 3-6, 5-7, whatever it was the first 2 years, people are going to be pissed. People are going to talk shit. Obviously, if you lost all that games, it means other people scored points. But you kind of have to look at what people run into, the situation. Not all situations are made the same. We talk all the time about how when the staff took over, COVID was going on. The roster was just down in the dumps because Jimbo let it slide, and then Willie came in and nothing happened. That was just 2 years of standstill and loss. What Adam Fuller was able to do was taking the holdovers, the guys like Kalen DeLoach, um, really a Dennis Briggs, I think, was already on campus when he got here. It was just really a beautiful thing. That 2022 season, um, that defense, you lose Jermaine Johnson, and folks are like, oh shit, Jermaine Johnson left. That was their one guy. That was their one guy on defense who kept them in games. What are they going to do now? No way Lightning can strike in the bottle. No way they're going to be able to get another defensive lineman out of the portal that can help them be as good, the same kind of guy as Jermaine Johnson. Lo and behold, they brought in a guy named Jared Verse. Okay. And he was pretty damn good. Was he as good as Jermaine Johnson his first year? Maybe not, pretty damn close. But his second year, you can put those seasons up there against each other. Jared Verse, the second half of 2023 was a thing to behold. One of the best players you'll ever see at college football. So I say that to say, year by year, you saw exactly what you need to see in a defensive coach when they show up. And regardless of that, people are still pissed and talking shit. But his defenses went from the 60s to the 40s to the 15s to this past year, a legitimate top 5 defense in the entire nation, maybe the best defensive line, maybe the best front 7, you could say, maybe the best secondary in the entire nation. Definitely top 5 in all those categories. There's a kind of idea out there that all of a sudden his defense is going to fall off, that, oh, well, you lost all these people and there's no way that you can keep up and just reload through the portal. Where are these defensive line going to come from? And a lot of that comes from, and I'm not saying that I give heed to it or it's anything more than trolling or just fun, but when you look around these message boards and articles, well, Florida State's recruiting a backup D10, DT. We looked at a guy, I think the coaching staff might have reached out to a defensive tackle from Wyoming that hit the portal recently. And, oh, how come you guys can't go get a starter? Why are you guys after backups? Well, it just goes to just happens that in the second portal period, the guys that these people are calling starters, like Barrow from Michigan State, well, he had no chance to start at Florida State. He would have been the 4th defensive tackle at best. If he was lucky, maybe the 5th or 6th. So a guy like Barrow isn't going to leave a Michigan State to come be a backup at Florida State. So it's just as simple as that is. Like, we're in the market for a defensive tackle that could possibly back up or break into some of his potential and become a guy this year. But that doesn't take away anything from the fact that there was this whole other portal before spring practice. There was all these other things. So Florida State brought in, if you want to talk about that one particular school down south that people have been saying, I've been talking about them too much, so we won't mention them. But this particular place that got Barrow, the whatever 85th defensive tackle in the nation, and saying we're poor kids because we're going after a backup guy who's even lower than him. It's okay. Okay. Sione Lolohea. Okay. Grady Kelly, Tomiwa Durojai. All these guys listed at defensive line, the same category by 247 Sports in the portal rankings. One's number 15, one's number 16, and one's number 52. So before you get your panties in a wad and worry about who we have, and all we have is Daryl Jackson and Joshua Farmer and Daniel Lyons and all these. Yeah, we already
Who are very good,
4
by the
guys.
way.
Great, no, very good
Yeah.
player. Yes, but we added 4 guys better than the
Yeah.
one guy we just added. So just just calm down. Durajaye has been reported to playing inside quite a bit. You had Grady Kelly and then Marvin Jones Jr. on the outside. You could only wish you could sign somebody like that in the portal. So yeah, am I going to sit here and say the defensive line is going to be as good as it was last year at the very end of the year? Yeah, probably not. The first half of the year, yes, sir. I think you can be at that level and maybe even get close to what you had at the end of the last year. More next year, you would look at, and even the year after that, kind of get to higher levels. But they have every piece there, to be a top 5 defensive line in the nation. Inside, Daryl Jackson and Joshua Farmer, who I kind of scoffed at in jest there. You're talking about two guys who, in my opinion, guaranteed worst possible scenario you see as a second and third round pick, but both of them with legitimate shots to jump into that first round. You look at Patrick Payton, just about every mock I've seen, Patrick Payton is a first round draft projection. Marvin Jones Jr., I think, will be. I think he could do for 2 years. I don't know if he's on draft boards for this coming year. But is there what in particular steps stands out? Is there anything on the defensive line you want to talk about before I move on?
No, I mean, I just, like you said, Marvin Jones Jr. I let me think. No, I think the defense is going to be just as good. I see the defense ending up in 3 to 5 nationally ranked. That's where I see it. So that's all I have to say about it. Really.
3 to 5. That's a
3 to 5.
good projection. It's really hard with the schedule to kind of predict the overall. But if you're going to ask me, are there 5 defenses in the country that I would take over Florida State's? I would say hell no. So I'm right there with you, and we'll definitely see how it falls.
Yeah. I mean, that's just my thoughts on that. So I think when you start the season with Georgia Tech, that's a win. Sorry. I know Miami fans will like bristle at that because y'all can't beat them, but real teams can. But I think when the next game is what, Boston College? Yeah. I mean, you're gonna go 2-0 in the ACC to start. That's nice. And I think that defense is gonna step up. I don't have any. I'm not going to be sitting there going third and Fuller or third, because we did the third and Kelly, and there were so many people that did third and Fuller. And I understand the Wake Forest game or the Boston College game from last year. I get it. I'm right there with you. But there were so many injuries, and we just don't know about injuries because the coaching staff doesn't make it, knowable, I guess. So let's understand this defense is going to be really good. They reloaded well. They portaled very well in the portal time that mattered, which was in December and January, guys. Sorry. Just the truth.
Without a doubt. Yeah, there's not as much experience, but there's every bit as much talent. Well, I'll go ahead and say it. There's more talent than there's ever been. Last year you had Verse in year 2. You had a Fist coming in who was a little bit older than a Grady Kelly. But inside to have Joshua Farmer and Daryl Jackson, I think that's really kind of been underrated. Moving on though to linebackers, I was worried. I was really worried about linebacker. I thought we absolutely had to go get one in the portal, but boy, have they ever shown out in spring. Just really, really shown out. Sean Murphy comes in from Alabama, a guy that, again, Florida State took a lot of heat because he doesn't have a lot of experience and all these things. Well, he's young, and he has plenty enough experience for his age at Alabama. Do I think he will start? I'm not sure. I would love it if Sean Murphy is playing to the level in fall camp that he can start. That would be amazing. DJ Lundy is your kind of guy that's pretty much guaranteed to start in that linebacker position. You almost lose him in the portal to, I believe, Colorado, but he gets out there and he's like, holy shit, what have I gotten myself into? Gets it the first flight
Jesus.
back to Tallahassee. And DJ Lundy is a guy that I think people thought he had hit his ceiling. Thought it was kind of over for him. He was going to be who he was, even though he kind of reshaped his body, really loosened up his hips and got a lot better. Well, his development has just continued to get better and better and better. And for what Adam Fuller is going to ask him to do in this defense, all of a sudden he's getting draft projections and people thinking he could have one of the better, if not the best year of a FSU linebacker to date. Now, Justin Cryer is a guy who's just a true sophomore. They call him Juice. We got him as a transfer last year. before he even played a snap at the school he went to. He committed to the school before he even made it there, signed his national letter of intent. He transferred to Florida State. This kid, there's legit whispers like he could beat out a Murphy, and Omar Graham, these different guys, DeMarco Ward, and start for Florida State this year. I think your top three guys right now are probably Cryer, Murphy, and Lundy. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit to see him get in there. But he's played at such a level that the idea of bringing somebody in, it's just not that big of a deal anymore. At this point, the way Nicholson, Cryer, and Murphy are all playing against each other, I've just got no worries. Whichever one of those three guys steps up and is the second guy to DJ Lundy, we're going to be just fine. And the same thing for his backup on either side.
Yeah, I mean, I think when DJ Lundy hit the portal, that was one that confused me the most out of anyone that I've ever seen. I thought he had, like we said, he had the potential to start. I didn't get it. And I couldn't have been the first one that was so happy when he got to Colorado, saw that mess going on there in Boulder, and was like, guys, I'm out. I am out. This is a mess. It's a mess and a half. So good for you. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you came home. I'm glad you understood that you made a mistake, maybe got some bad advice. I don't know how it all happened, but I'm glad he didn't leave on bad terms when it happened. And I'm glad he's going to come back home and or possibly start and be the player that we all thought he was going to be before he decided to transfer. Because to me, that one was a confusing one when it happened. It really was.
Yeah. It didn't really confuse me too much. I think it confused him by the time he got over there and looked and see what his surroundings were. I think looking back on it now in hindsight, yeah, it is extremely confusing because he's like the lead guy in the linebacking room. But going back and looking back at that point in time, Florida State wasn't going to tell him, look, we're building around you. You're the guy. We're not bringing anybody in. And kind of the prevailing thought was Florida State was going to bring in a linebacker or two. And a little bit of NIL things. Maybe he didn't think he was getting what a starting linebacker was, or should get, maybe what Deloach or the other guy Bethune got last year. So I get it, but I also see 100% what you're saying, and that doesn't make too much sense. But luckily, everybody got on the same page, and I think the right decision was made at the end. And there he is, kind of the most valuable piece in the center of that linebacker room. And then we can move on to my favorite position. And after you got one more thing.
Oh, no. I was just saying, I think for me, DJ Lundy, like I said, I was just excited for him to come back. I know people were saying, well, what about the Florida State fans that trashed him? I didn't trash him. I was the first one to as soon as I saw he was coming back, I was like, yes, please bring this man back. He has no business wasting his life in Boulder, Colorado with IOU checks in your locker. Okay. They're not paying you. They're giving you IOUs. Like in Post-its. Okay, so let's stop. Everything I say is true, except for the stuff that is false. Okay, so I'm just saying that to me was the most confusing thing in the world. But the most unconfusing thing in the world was when he got to Colorado and said, peace, I'm going back. Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah. Well, I'm just glad it happened. But as we move forward from linebacker to my favorite position, kind of position of the team. It doesn't really matter who you talk to, the players, the coaches, everybody's pretty much said it. Defensive back is kind of the elite unit on the squad. FS50 or FS5SU. That's a tongue twister, dude. F55SU. Thomas and Cypress will be all ACC. I could not agree more. And what he has named for you there is our starting outside corners, Azaria Thomas and Fintrell Cypress. Fintrell Cypress came over Virginia. He was already first team all ACC over there. Came in, played damn good for us last year. He took some heat just from, a year transitioning into the defense. Everything's going to be a little different. He's going to get tested because you have Bernardo Green on one side. But at the end of the day, really by the end of the year was playing great ball, in my opinion. And I think you see Fintrell Cypress really level up this year. really take another step and be just comfortable in his own skin and not so much learning and trying to make sure he's in the right spot. He's going to be out there just playing on, pure athleticism. And I 100% agree. He will be either first team or second team all ACC. But across the way over there, Zaria Thomas, that's the guy. Really believe he's going to leave Florida State as a first round pick, whether that's this year or next year. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he doesn't explode this year and you just see like a second team all ACC level. But I don't think so. I think you really see that jump this year. All these highlight tapes cut up for Jerry and Jones, Bernardo Green, they've all got clips of 20 mixed up in there. As a true sophomore last year, just guarding the best receivers in the nation. When you go up against a guy like Malik Neighbors at LSU, the Clemson wide receivers, all the different wide receivers he played throughout the year. He really is an unbelievable cover corner, just a natural guy at the position. And you see as he's grown and gained a little size and just turned into a man in his couple of years, how much better he's gotten. And I think when the world gets to see him after another 8 months of not seeing him and just putting the work in this nutrition, this, Storm's weight department, get ready to see a grown man. There's a lot of Jalen Ramsey comparisons. I'm not going to do that to him. But I do think at the bare minimum, he's a second round pick if he were to come out next year, but could possibly be a first round pick as a true junior. If he decides to come back for a senior year, that would be absolutely amazing. And he's a lock for the first round no matter what. And that would be amazing. But we can't ask for that. We'll see what happens. But look out for Zaria Thomas to maybe be the best defensive back we've had on this team in a while. We can move to the slot. Or is there anything you had on the outside corners?
No, I think you nailed it.
Yeah. Just studs, just absolute studs. We've got the young guys coming in like Charles Lester, of course. So outside,
yeah.
Well, Hussey's a safety. We're getting there.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Hussey's an absolute beast. But as far as that corner, if we move over to slot and talk about who's going to possibly start, we lost Greedy Vance, of course, to the portal. But you bring in an Earl Little Jr. Maybe the reason you lost Greedy. He's your most likely odds-on favorite to start in that nickel cornerback. I thought maybe you lose Kevin Knowles, but I guess it was just, with Greedy Vance gone, that's all the bleeding we're going to take. Kevin Knowles sticks it out. So to have an Earl Little Jr. and a kind of veteran in the slot there, Kevin Knowles took a lot of heat playing safety last year, but he's back in the slot. And another guy that Jim just loves, Ricky Knight, isn't even on campus yet, but a dude who's going to show up, and I have a good feeling is going to get on the field early. He may be your Conrad Hussey of last year in that DB class. He may be your DB to come in, and even though he's not, a 5-star and everything else, he's the guy that's going to come in and make an impact really early there in that position group for sure. But as she mentioned Hussey, that's where I'm going to start making outlandish claims again as we get to the safety. Conrad Hussey and Shaheem Brown they're two NFL guys. Shaheem Brown, probably a second or third round guy again, but he could have came out this past year. Definitely in his best interest to come back, but he's a dude who's just been groomed and developed at Florida State out of high school. I know they say it doesn't happen, but a guy that
Who knew?
has been here his 4th year, and it's just it's like having a woolly veteran back there. He's just the guy that's going to be in the right place and just getting better and better and better. I can't wait to see, the steps he takes this year. The ceiling to me isn't as high as a guy like Hussey, just kind of, because of the raw athleticism and things like that. But he's a guy like I could see like a Jerry and Jones who could just maximize the tools he has and be a legitimate second or third round pick in the draft as long as he continues. It's a little harder for safety. It's a lot cornerback, so we'll see where he goes. But as far, as an all ACC defender, I have no doubt he's going to be all ACC and be a great safety for us. Across the way at safety, the second safety spot, you've got Conrad Hussey, but you also have a guy they brought in Devontae Brown, who has played his ass off. So I've been predicting Conrad Hussey to start the whole time. You've heard Devontae Brown's name a lot first, come out of Mike Norvell's mouth when talking about the safeties. But either way, you have 3 guys who, you couldn't be more comfortable with, as opposed to last year when you just had a younger Shaheem Brown and Akeem Dent, who hadn't always been the most healthy guy. People were really worried about safety. It's the opposite this year. Behind them, you have KJ Kirtland and so many young guys coming in. I couldn't be happier at safety. Best safety group we've had since Derwin James and LaMarcus Brutus and those guys back in like 2015. So I couldn't be happier. The defense is going to take us as far as we need to go. And yeah, that's where I'm at on that.
I love it. I love everything you said. I for sure think this defense is going to be. I don't see them taking this huge step back like people thought. And again, my prediction is they'll end the year at ranked in between 3 and 5. It wouldn't surprise me to see them go higher than 3. It just wouldn't. But with the young people, with the people we haven't seen, I'm going to be safe and saying 3 to 5. But I think this defense is going to be even more surprising than last year's.
Yeah. Matt J says Edwin had some flashes. Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. He was kind of the star defensive back in the spring game as far as somebody that stood out. He really impressed me. And just you can just look, you can see in the physique what just that little bit of time with Storms has done, and I can't wait to see what he can do. And I totally agree with Jen. You know, the whole idea of FSU falling off and what are you going to do? You know, you can't just keep reloading and grabbing guys out of the portal. That hit rate's going to collapse eventually. When it does, you can rub my nose in it and tell me I'm wrong. But no, I agree with Jen. I think your defense, there's a slight less depth there. But when I look at the schedule is more favorable. And I like some of the high-end talent, you know, especially when you look at safety and corner. I think your defensive backs are better than ever. I think your ceiling at linebacker is higher than it's been in a long time, but the floor is admittedly lower when you lose a couple seniors like that. But all in all, this thing is moving forward. It's a climb for a reason. I don't see this team getting worse defensively. They hold the line or just kind of move forward. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I can't wait. And again, the lines are open. If you have any questions, now is the time. Speak now or forever hold your peace as we get ready to debut this fun show that we've got tomorrow. Kind of a transition period right here at the end of spring. Probably only do about an hour tonight, but we just wanted to kind of give one more solid recap of the spring and look forward as FSU kind of leads the odds to be the ACC champions currently right now at plus 275. Behind them, Clemson at 280 and Miami at 450. You know, another year, Florida State favored to win it all. It's really a beautiful thing. So do you see anything? What's the biggest obstacle? Do you think it is Clemson or do you think Miami's the biggest obstacle this year in the ACC? Or is it SMU?
I don't see an obstacle in the ACC. Sorry. I'm not there. No, I don't believe in SMU. Sorry. I'm a Memphis fan, so I've watched them in the AAC. No, I'm not scared of SMU. I don't think it's going to be SMU. I also don't believe in Miami. Their coach is still Mario Cristobal. And I also Clemson, I would say if you wanted to find I would say Clemson is the only one. That's it. But Clemson has to come to Florida State, and so that to me, I still would be on pins and needles during that game. I'd like them to pull a 2013 and just blow those sorry asses out, right? That's what I watched for Mother's Day and my birthday. That's my favorite game. So I would love that. I think, that's the only team that scares me. I don't know where all this Notre Dame stuff's coming from. Miami. I mean, are we kidding ourselves? And what was the other one you said? SMU? No, none of those. None of the above. Clemson's the only one.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's nobody that quote unquote scares me in the ACC. Again, that's why we're favored. But you do have to, there's a scale there.
I know.
How big of a speed bump or how small? I would definitely say Clemson, I agree with you, is the biggest speed bump. I'm not buying the Miami stuff. We've talked about that at length. But Clemson, we did just get them 1 year. We beat them overtime. This year is the year to kind of go down there, or not go down there. We went down there and won in overtime last year, like you said. We get them at home this year. It would nice to be able to win this one comfortably. Maybe not be such of a run there at the very end, but we'll see. I still think they're number one. I get what people are saying with Notre Dame, worried about them being maybe the second toughest obstacle there on the schedule, but it's not a conference game. So regardless of whether you drop that one or not, it doesn't affect you getting to the ACC title. And you would still be undefeated in the ACC regardless of a loss there. I don't think you do. I think they lost
Is
both
this the
their starting
same?
tackles, one who's like an NF, both are like high NFL guys. Marvin Jones Jr. and Patrick Payton are going to absolutely eat in that game.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, is this the same Notre Dame team that got blitzed by Louisville, who we beat with our third string? I'm just asking a question. Is that what we're worried about? That Notre Dame team? Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good.
I mean, we're just talking. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's just
No,
schedule.
no, I'm just saying everybody's like, I'm talking to the chat. I'm sorry, I should have,
Okay.
They said it's Notre Dame. Okay, I disagree. Notre Dame got blitzed.
Well, I mean, no, I agree with what you're saying. I get it. But when you're looking at the schedule, I mean, who's better than Notre Dame on it?
Clemson.
Right. That's what we just talked about. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Like, fuck Notre Dame. They suck. All that good stuff. Like, just talking about on the schedule who's left, because outside of Notre Dame and Clemson, I mean, it's a steep drop off to Miami.
Welcome
and then,
to the ACC bullshit. Okay,
sure.
it's not a who's who. It's who are you? You are playing with absolute losers most weeks, most Saturdays. Nobody cares. Nobody watches. There are 3 teams that you should probably worry about in the ACC that anybody even knows their names. Okay, Miami, Florida State, and Clemson. Nobody knows any of these other teams' names. Nationally, nobody gives a shit. So it is almost a who's who. It's not a who's who. It's a who's are you. So yes, if we have to pick the team, that would bother me the most, I'm gonna go with Clemson. Because again, it's like,
let's just do this. So make your predictions. What do you think? Are we going 13-0 straight to the playoff, or what? What do you got?
Yeah, because I don't see a team on their schedule right now that honestly scares me until I see actual teams play. I need to see that first, and then. But right now, yeah, based off of everything I've seen, off of all of these teams that are on their schedule, based off of the Florida State team, then yeah.
Boom. You heard it here first. Jen calls it undefeated season, 13-0, repeat of last year, except for this time we get into the damn playoffs. That's tough. 13-0. Look, last year I sat here and I went back and forth, and I was like, no, there's no way we're going to split it. I say we go 11-1, then we win the conference championship, and then we won every game. If I sit here and I say I agree with Jen, we're going 12-0, we're winning the ACC, and we're going to the conference championship or going to the playoff. People are going to say I'm a homer and this and that, but when you break it down game by game, I just, like Jen said, I have to agree. It's Clemson, it's Miami, possibly Notre Dame. It's hard to worry about them, and even if you did, it's still not a conference game. So then outside of those 3 games where a ball could jump funny, or you could have the flu, or something could happen and you could possibly lose. I mean, if you lose to any of these other teams, Georgia Tech, SMU, like that's a real problem. North Carolina just lost Drake May, and their coach is old as shit. The only thing is when you add up win totals, when you do these percentages, even if you're 90% in every single game, well, that 10% add up. So that 10th or 11th game, something's going to happen and you're going to lose it. So I completely understand. Odds are we probably drop one. But I'm just a firm believer what Mike Norvell and them are doing. So I don't think there's any in between. I think either it's just a total miss and it's not the team we thought, and you end up going 10-2, maybe 11-2 if you're lucky.
Which is still good.
Or you're undefeated and you go all the way. And that's just the way I lean. I just think they're going to do it. They're going to win all their games. Who knows what happens in the playoff? But as far as the schedule in front of you in the ACC, run it. I agree. So you heard it here first. Damn, we're telling you We're doing it. The post game shows 13-0, 13 wins. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I can't justify looking at teams like Georgia Tech, Boston College. When you look at the talent, when you look at the way those teams play, like I said, the only team that troubles me is Clemson. I'm not scared of Notre Dame. I think they will fold at any chance if they can. They enjoy doing that. That's what they've done since what, 93. So yeah, I'm not really all that worried about that. I'm not worried about Miami. Fun. We get to go to Miami and play. It'll be the only time they have fans in the stands, so maybe they will get up for the game. I don't know, and I still don't care. They're still coached by Mario Cristobal, so I'm going to go down that road. Florida, really? I don't need to even expand on that anymore. SMU, no, don't care. Don't care. Again, after Clemson, Notre Dame, Miami, it's who are you? It's there. These are like teams you should beat. There's no question about it. And if you lose to them, then you have a problem that needs to be addressed. Are you still a good team? Maybe, as long as you go 10-2 after that. But you cannot drop multiple games to this schedule. I mean, it's going to be a trial. So we've got to see. We've got to wait and see. That's what I'll say.
So to that point, and kind of our conversation and talking about, it's just hard to go undefeated. Me and Jen both think we've got the guys. We trust our coaching staff to do it, and that's kind of where we think it's going to go. When you look at the Vegas odds for national championship, I'll go ahead and read them. Obviously, Georgia comes back in at number 1. They've got the most talent. Number 2, Ohio State. Texas at number 3. Oregon at number 4. Who I get it with Oregon because they've got a ton of talent, but boy, they got to show me something. They lost all them games last year, but those are some great teams in Washington and Michigan. I get it. Alabama comes in after Oregon, who, again, that's a tough one. They're going to have to show me something. Ole Miss is the one that really loses me at plus 1,600. They're tied with LSU right there for 7th place. 8th place comes in Michigan at plus 2,000 after losing. They lost even more guys than Florida State, but a nice program there. But again, this kind of what I'm mentioning these things. Their guys, Sharon Moore, we come in at number 9, tied with 10th and 11th place. So you have a 3-way tie there at 9th place with Florida State, Penn State, and Notre Dame. Right below Notre Dame, I guess
that
12th
sounds
place
lucky.
is going to be Clemson at plus 3,000. So there's the 3 teams we talked about, or the 2 teams we talked about that could be our bigger roadblocks there, Clemson and Notre Dame. One's tied at plus 2,500, one's plus 3,000. So what that tells you is similar to the ACC. Plus 275 for Florida State, plus 280 for Clemson. Very close there, but they give Florida State the edge in talent over Clemson. These guys are saying Notre Dame is equal. I don't agree. I think we have much more talent than Notre Dame. I just think the evaluations and things, even when you get to Vegas, are off. But you could very much see where Vegas sees we could lose to either one of them teams on any given day. So it's not like we're going to have some super high win percentage there. But there's only one ACC team there, and that's Clemson. You go down Tennessee, USC, Missouri, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, and Miami, Florida is the last one on this chart I'm looking at. Down there about 20th, I reckon, tied with Oklahoma. So they give Mario Cristobal and the Miami Hurricanes, twice as long as odds as Florida State, and the same odds as Oklahoma over there. Oklahoma and what's his name, the defensive coordinator, and anyways, Oklahoma and Miami even with odds. But yeah, after that, it's a long fall from Miami to the next ACC team that's anywhere near the odds for sure.
Well, it's going to be a long fall for Miami because, they've been called the losers of the ACC when they joined. It was the All Canes Conference. We've all been down this road. They're still not going to win it this year. Okay. They're still not going to win it this year because they're coached by Mario Cristobal. They could have Tom Brady at quarterback. Stop with this Cam Ward stuff. Cam Ward is very good. If Florida State had gotten Cam Ward, I actually had a Miami fan. Are you ready for this, George? Tell me that I wanted Cam Ward. That it's all like, he's like, well, that's not what you were saying on your show. Look, I said Cam Ward was really good. And if you want to sit there and look at me straight in the face and say that I was sitting here going, we've got to have Cam Ward instead of DJU, I can't help you with that. It's all on tape. You can go look at the YouTubes. It's clearly on video. But Mario will ruin Cam Ward. Cam Ward wanted to be in the NFL. That was always my issue with Cam Ward. He wanted to be in the NFL. I wanted someone who wanted to be at Florida State. That's why I was writing so hard for DJU. Also because he's really good. Also because he fits Mike's system perfectly. So again, yeah, I couldn't believe that one. They were like, that's not what you were saying on your show. I was like, what? What? In what world? In what world? That's why they're so delulu. Those fans can just take 1,000 seats.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's a long, long run past them to the next one. Not a long run of teams, but we're at 2,500. Clemson at 3,000. Miami, the Delulu fuckers, as Jim calls them, at 5,000, plus 5,000 to win the national title. The next ACC team and their long shot odds are Louisville at plus 10,000, which is way up there, and a Louisville team that's not even on our schedule, I don't believe. You have to zoom way down below that. You have to get past Colorado, teams like Arizona. You get to North Carolina at plus 15,000, and they're tied with another team on our schedule, Florida. After that, you go a long ways to
Did you
an
say
NC
Colorado
State team.
is favored ahead of Florida?
Yes, Colorado has a better
Stop.
odds to win the national championship than Florida and North Carolina.
I'm sorry.
Next is NC State at 20,000 plus 20,000. Again, an NC State team that I don't believe we play unless I'm mistaken. But yeah, I don't see another ACC team even on the long shots list there. But yeah, it's clear according to Vegas who's the most talented team in the ACC, regardless of who you want to talk to. And it's not Coral Gables, it's not Clemson, it's not anybody. It's Florida State. And I cannot wait to see us just get out there and kick ass. I really can't. We can preach it all we want. I can preach it all I want. Until they go out there and do it for the second year, people are going to talk shit. But when you build a real program, when real programs get built, you stack on top of each other like Lego blocks every single year. And Mike Norvell, Derek Ray, Alex Atkins, Adam Fuller, that's exactly what they have done. They have fine-tuned this machine. They have gotten this team better and better. And the core of this team that's going to start in 2024, 10 or 11 of them are high school guys from 21, 22, 20, seniors, redshirt seniors, juniors, redshirt juniors, grown-ass men. Guys like Darius Washington all the way back from 2019, who's the third best offensive lineman preseason in the nation. A dude who's just out there manhandling folks. Like, this is a grown-ass man team that is zeroed in, and everybody on it. And there's a ton of people that come back. All these guys that have came back, they are the best that they ever have been. And, like, people are worried about losing 10 draft picks. Just fine. There's 10 draft picks loaded right behind them. And believe what you want about the luck running out. Go back and study all these portal classes and what the incoming portal guys have done. And look at what we have coming in. 10 blue chips and 10 badass transfers that are going to, man, I can't wait to see him play. I can't wait to see what DJU does. DJU comes in with his floor being the level of passer that Jordan Travis was when he left Florida State. That's DJU's floor coming in this year. Your argument is, oh, we won't have the legs with it. Well, Jordan wasn't really able to use his legs that much in the end just because it was so dangerous, and we saw it ended up hurting him. So, yeah, DJU will be enough of a threat with his legs that it's gonna be just fine. And he's not going to be playing the same game as we talked earlier. This running game, he's going to be able to hit those wide open play action guys, or he ain't. I'm here to tell you it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, Miami hopefully headed off to the Big 12. Florida State heading to the Big 10. It's a fun time for everybody. Again, just having fun. Wanted to really recap the spring, let you guys know exactly where we at, and look forward to the season and where we're at there. But if you have any questions, speak now or forever hold your peace as we, get close to the end of this thing. The phone number is up there on the screen, 850-495-1906. You can text and call, whatever you want to do. But again, it's got maybe 4.5 more minutes left, unless we have a bunch of questions coming.
No, it doesn't look like we have too many. We do have some bot fans in here. The bot fans have shown up, the Miami bot fans, because we know they're bots because there's no asses in the seats when they actually play games. So we know they're bots. Hi, guys. Welcome to the show. Maybe actually, instead of spending your time, on this live, you should show up to your own games. Do that. That would be nice. Then maybe you could be considered for a good conference, because other conferences look at Miami and they're like, oh, we need to sell tickets. Y'all don't do that.
Tiny Hat says Coral Gables will make the playoffs when they win the Big 12 because they need to schedule 10 cupcakes and 3 legit teams. Perfect for Big 12 country. Yeah, and by then it'll be the group of 5 playoffs. It'll be fun. Maybe they can get that relegation spot one day, but I highly doubt it. Oh, boy.
Look, I don't even mind if Miami does end up going to the Big Ten with Florida State. I just need Florida State to go first so I can laugh at their asses when they still can't win the ACC when Florida State and Clemson leave. I need that for my life. I need it. It'd be the biggest gift that I could possibly ever get is if they still lose it to like the Wake Forest and the North Carolinas. I'm sorry. It would just be so funny. Or Duke. I mean, Duke. Because Duke's got Miami's number. Miami can't beat Duke. Especially with Manny now there. I mean, God. The script writes itself. Like, just, I don't know.
For sure.
Nothing could make me happier.
Yeah, more like a tropical depression. The chat says Mike wants to know if Miami plays Georgia Tech. I'm not sure if they do or don't. I hope they do. That would be nice.
I don't think they do this year. I could be wrong. I don't think they do, but they do play Duke this year, and they will lose to Manny Diaz. Absolutely, 100%. The script writes itself. We all know this is going to happen. They're going to get the turtle issue in their, rears that men get. They won't be able to play against Manny. It'll be, I don't know. It'll be hilarious. And then they're going to lose to Duke at home. I can't wait. Again. Again.
Yeah, they get Georgia Tech on November 9th.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Let's just hope that is a replay of last year and it's at Georgia Tech this time. So that would be a beautiful thing. That guy on Twitter is still playing that video after like an entire year almost.
Oh, a whole year. And so, what I do miss about the bot fan base, guys, can y'all post more videos of your losses, bragging about them? I need more of those in my life. They're fun. I need more of your people to just keep posting those. They're fantastic. I don't know people that brag about losses. I know Category 5, I am going to hate this year. You've said this last year and like for the last 20. We get it. But yes. Just let's document the losses more. We need more of that. It's funny. It's intriguing. And maybe, Dateline can pick it up.
Absolutely. Well, guys.
As a deep dive into people who are masochists. That's what I would say.
Masochists, huh? Well, I'll leave that one alone. But I think we're reached the end here. I don't see a bunch of questions. No callers coming in. We appreciate everybody as we hit, I guess, an hour and 10 minutes. We can call that good. Thank you all for joining us, and stay tuned. There will be a thumbnail and a link and some marketing up for the Renegade Roast tomorrow night around 9 Eastern. We will see you right back here on the Renegade Report. Again, if you're not subscribed, if you haven't already hit that like button, we could really appreciate if you do that. It's 100% free, and I promise it's going to pay off, especially as shit starts picking up. We're going to have a bunch of commitments, visits, all kind of fun stuff here towards the end of the month, and especially in June. And then there will be a football season eventually. But again, we love you guys. And if Jen has any parting words, we will leave you with that.
I do not, but I cannot wait for you guys to join us tomorrow. I am so excited. Just stay tuned. I can't wait for this one, and we're gonna have such a good time. Everybody, make sure to join us. Hit that notify button. We're gonna send the link sometime tomorrow. Make sure to be there because it's gonna be fun.
All righty. Go Knowles. We will see you guys next time right here at the Renegade Report.
Hey, man. They FSU versus everybody. Let go. First off, fuck Bama in the roll tide. Fuck Tuscaloosa in every city that's close by. Bitch ass hillbilly redneck fans. Auburn almost caught y'all slacking like dress pants. Michigan trash, they ain't got a damn chance. Only Wolverine I respect is X-Man. Keen ass coach got exposed, still in plays. Damn right I'm bitter, y'all sweeter than lemonade. Texas ain't shit to rave about.